If I were to ask you what is the most tragic scene in the entire Reze arc, you would probably say it was the one where Reze dies. And you would definitely be right. But what if I told you you were 100% wrong? Because there is actually a scene in the Chainsaw Man movie that not only revealed the real tragedy of Denji and Reze's love, but it also showed what made it so beautiful in the first place. And the scene that I'm referring to is this one right here. This very moment of Denji and Reze sinking to the bottom of the ocean is the real tragedy of the entire Reze arc. Because it revealed the heartbreaking truth of their relationship, which is they can never be together. And the only possible way for them to do that would be in death. I know this is gonna sound crazy, but I always interpreted this scene like it was a lover's suicide. And I mean this symbolically because although the story depicts two teenagers falling in love with each other, it also shows how they get tragically torn apart by the world around them. And it seems that the only escape they have from all of this is in death. The reason I say that the world tears them apart is because prior to this scene, Denji and Reze are literally fighting each other to the death, not because they want to, but because they're forced to. Because it's Reze's job to take Denji's heart, and it is Denji's job to stop Reze from killing more innocent people. After all, each of them has their own purpose towards the people that they serve, with Reze working for the Soviet Union and Denji with public safety. So when both of them engage in this epic battle, it's almost as if they're mere weapons being pitted against each other to serve their purpose, to do their job. Denji and Reze are battling each other not out of desire but out of an obligation that they must do. So when they sink to the bottom of the ocean and end up on the shore, this finally gives them the opportunity to let their masks down and show who they really are. Meaning there's no bomb devil here, there's no chainsaw man here, it's just Reze and Denji, the two lovebirds who we have always rooted for. And when they let their mask down, their reason to fight each other also disappears with it, which explains why Denji chooses to resuscitate Reze on the beach and why she doesn't kill Denji after paralyzing him. But the reason they do this is because they would not want to see the person that they care about most in this world to die. And this leads me to the next point of this video, which is the reason why this tragic scene just hit so hard to the point it made me tear up. And that reason was love. Now, if you remembered earlier in this video, I said that there is something beautiful about this tragic scene. And I did not say this to be pretentious, I said it because typically in any anime, a tragedy can only be achieved if there was something of great value that can be taken away in the first place. And in the case of Denji and Reze, that something was love. The Chainsaw Man movie did an incredible job in depicting the classic trope of two young people falling in love with each other. But of course, you've never seen it at this caliber before. I believe this is what people like to call cinema because that is literally what it is. To see two teenagers who have never experienced what love or companionship feels like and suddenly finding it in each other's presence is perhaps the best romance you can ever write in an anime. But what sets their relationship apart from the rest is what I like to call depressing lives cured by beautiful romance. In other words, it is contrast that makes the relationship so much more emotionally heavy, and is the main reason why the viewer, us, and me and you, oh so badly root for their happiness. That contrast exists within Denji and Reze's past and how each of them have experienced unimaginable suffering at such a young age. But it is only when they find each other that everything begins to change for them, and thus their terrible lives were contrasted with these wholesome, romantic moments that they both shared with one another. And throughout the brief time that they were together, we were given a glimpse into this alternate reality where Denji and Reze get to live a normal life, the life that they should have had, the life that they both deserved. All of these moments quickly made Reze realize how being with Denji makes her feel overwhelmingly happy and loved. Someone who actually shows her undivided care and attention. And I mean, this realization of hers hits her like a truck. Because as soon as Reze started sympathizing with how messed up Denji's life is, she just couldn't hold back her emotions any longer. She grabs Denji's hand and begs him to run away with her far from where anyone could ever find them so she can finally live that country mouse life she always dreamt about. But the best part is that she has someone who she could experience it with, someone who can make the rest of her life just that more happier. Hence why Reze offers so much to Denji, whether it means caring for him or protecting him. Reze will do it all if it means she gets to have Denji in her life. And Reze does this not because she's selfish, but because she sees herself as someone who can give Denji a way better life than the one he has right now. She does all this out of love for him. But he hesitates, and this dreamy fantasy that Reze thought she could have had quickly vanishes in front of her eyes. Denji still wants to work at public safety, unwilling to give up that city mouse life for the one that Reze is already offering him. And that flipped a switch in her, turning Reze's focus back to her original mission and thus beginning this tragic battle between both of them, which is what caused their romance to spiral downwards into this very tragedy. But the most conflicting part about all of this is that it's not just a battle between Denji and Reze, it's a battle between a hero and a villain. Because in the case of these two lovebirds, each of them is fulfilling a role of good and evil, not just for the film's story but also for the world of Chainsaw Man, with Denji being the hero who must stop the bomb devil from slaughtering more innocent people, and Reze being the villain who will stop at nothing until she has Chainsaw Man's heart. Hence why their battle feels very conflicting when you first watch it, because although you care about these two characters, the reality is they're both on opposing sides of the moral spectrum. And I say it's conflicting because when the battle starts, we, the audience, by default side with Denji, hoping that he would make it out of this fight alive since he is the good guy. But at the same time, we don't want to see Reze die either, because I and you watching this video right now still cared about Reze as a character, which is such a bizarre and uncomfortable experience, since of course you don't want to cheer on the batshit crazy woman who bit off Denji's tongue, but at the same time you still hope that Reze will make it out of this battle alive and get a happy ending, even after everything that she did. So it genuinely sucks seeing how this bloodbath is slowly tearing them apart, and you as the viewer are forced to see it unfold, to the point that you begin to forget that these two teenagers were literally just in love moments ago, but now it's being overshadowed by them killing each other. But the sick joke of it all is how after all of this takes place, the only time these two characters are brought together is in death. And seeing this made me think of something crazy, and this might sound insane, but hear me out. I thought if Denji and Reze died at this very moment, perhaps this was the most peaceful way they could have spent their final moments together as two people who loved each other, because at least they would have been separated from the world around them, the world that would never accept the love that these two have, a world that would never let them live peacefully. Since Makima will never let these two escape, and if the time came that Denji and Reze were to be found by her, the tragedy that would soon follow would be unimaginable. So perhaps this scene is not just the most tragic, but it also would be the most merciful ending to Denji and Reze's romance, where perhaps it's better to be dead and together rather than to be alive and torn apart, kind of like a lover's suicide. But the most cruel thing the film does here is that it contrasts Denji and Reze's tragedy with the moments they spent together in that pool. These fleeting memories show us how short-lived yet life-changing these experiences were to both Denji and Reze. All that joy, all that love gone in a matter of seconds, like it was nothing. This one scene revealed what made Denji and Reze's relationship so tragic, showing why their love was so perfect yet so impossible. A love that should have been but was never allowed to be. Cruel, is it not? I hope you guys enjoyed that video, and if you did, consider subscribing and giving it a like, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Take care.